Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio by Preston, the Sports Cheetah, and Bryan Leonard. And, well, it's NBA time. They are back off the break. We're going to break down a game for Friday night as we've got Detroit at Washington. And this is going to be a free play from Preston. And, guys, extended NBA All-Star break. They've added the extra time with that, given guys the chance that, had to participate in all the festivities to have a few days off. And it's also to throw a wrinkle in for us, the trade deadline. So you got a lot of people making last-minute trades, and we've got two teams here that, in my opinion, both are underachieving. Washington probably more so after the way they finished last year. A lot of people, you would naturally expect them to take the next step. Preston, I'll start with you. What do you think the problem is with this Washington team with the underachieving so far?
That's a good question. I think part of it has to do with, just the scheme in today's NBA. They don't really have a stretch four that can space the floor for them. Last year, I think they were last in the league in three-point attempts. I'm not sure what it is this year, so I don't want to say that they're last again. But they just kind of play a different style of ball, and they do it well. But it's hard to keep up with some of these teams that are running a lot more and shooting a ton of threes when you're only scoring 2 points at a time. But ultimately, they did make a move right before I got in here today. Before I had even mentioned that I liked this play, they got Markieff Morris from the Phoenix Suns, which is that perfect type of asset or piece to include that can space the floor and do some things. And they didn't have to give up much for him. So we'll see how he ends up helping out the Wizards going forward.
No, the Pistons had made some moves too. They were one of the first teams to start making moves, and not any earth-shaking moves on their part, but still, when you have a team, and this is something that you got to watch, a lot of times the public's going to overreact when they see these trades out of the gate and say, oh, this team is instantly going to be better. They got this and that, but you got to integrate the pieces of the puzzle together. It's especially, I think, it's worse if you actually get a really big name in a trade, because then it's not only you trying to fit a different piece into the puzzle, but because of the existing players there and you bring in a big name, it's like, a filling out of egos. And we saw that even with LeBron James, if you remember whenever, he went to Miami and that, because there was already two big stars there with Bosh and Dwayne Wade. It's like, who takes center stage? We know who the star is, but you don't want to ruffle feathers. And sometimes you have teams playing apprehensive.
Well, actually, nobody made any big deals. So with their salary cap going up the next 2 years, I think a lot of people are preparing for the future. And you're right. I think Washington made the best deal out of it all, especially with what they had to give up there. But, I'd like to take a look at teams going into and out of the All-Star break. Detroit was at home, and yet they lost 3 straight games going into the break. I definitely do not want to play on a team that's still fighting for the playoffs when they can't put it together right before a break, because we all know before you go on vacation, you just can't wait to get out the door. Well, Detroit doesn't have a lot of all-stars on their team, and they still couldn't wait to get out the door. I'd question them early in the second half here, see how they come out and play.
Well, Preston, your play, you've got a different play here. You're not playing the game. You're playing the first half on this one. And let's go ahead and give you the floor. This is your play.
Sure. We've kind of touched on one of the angles, but really going back to the essence of it is I like to find spots where teams have had large layoffs. We've talked about it in college basketball before. So it's been, because of the All-Star break, it's been over a week since the Pistons have played, but the Wizards actually play tonight. I think they play the Jazz. And then tomorrow they get the Pistons. So they will kind of have that game to get the rust out, and the Pistons will be going into Washington with having not played a game in, I think, 9 days. And so I like playing the first half of the team that is going against the team that's off the long layoff, and so that'll be the Wizards in this case. I also don't mind the fact they have Tobias Harris, maybe a little overreaction to getting that name. They traded for Donatas Montejunas and Marcus Thornton from the Rockets earlier today as well, so they have 3 pieces that they're trying to integrate. Detroit is, versus maybe just Markieff Morris on the Wizards, who might not actually even be able to play until later on in the weekend. So plays on the Wizards. I like the spot. I think Detroit's going to come out really slow to start the game.
It's thinking outside the box with coming with that first half play, and that's why we got this guy around. And good stuff from Preston. He says to go ahead, take the Washington Wizards on Friday night, take them for the first half play. Looks for them to jump out of the gate with Detroit being a little rusty. And guys, don't forget, you can save $10 this weekend with that coupon code VIP10. That's VIP and the number 10, and you can apply that $10 on the weekend all access. It's the best deal going. Pick your favorite capper and get all of his plays Thursday through Monday, just $69. We'll be back with more videos here at WagerTalk.com.